High heels are an icon of femininity. And most people assume only women wear heels, but so do men. So why don't more men...
Are you talking gay men, queer men, straight men?
Why don't more men wear high heels?
I think because our culture has told them that they absolutely can't wear heels. I think because our culture has said that's for women.
This is our colleague Noah Michelson, editorial director of HuffPost Personal.
I've been covering queer issues for the last 10 years, everything from same-sex marriage to transgender issues and everything in between. I'll wait for her to go by in her heels. There are certain items of clothing that always seem to bring to mind one gender or the other, either male or female, and I think for femininity, the high heel has always represented the woman. It's almost iconic.
So how did femininity and heels become synonymous? Well, actually, that wasn't always the case. The history of high heels goes all the way back
to the 10th century Persia, but I think it actually originated even earlier than that.
This is Elizabeth Semmelhack, the senior curator at the Bata Shoe Museum in Toronto, Canada. According to Elizabeth, early heels were only worn by men.
Really, the heel was this riding tool related to hunting, military need, masculinity, and equestrianism. It was a tool that was developed to be worn in tandem with the stirrup.
So when did women start wearing heels? Well, that started as a 17th century fashion trend.
There was a kind of craze to what we might say today, borrow from their boyfriend's closet. It's my thesis that they actually added heels to their outfits at this time in the effort to appear more manly.
But absent their equestrian functionality, high heels were an impractical form of footwear, which is why women were wearing their heels mostly in domestic settings. In turn, high heels were now thought of as women's shoes. By the time the 18th century rolls around, the heel
gets abandoned almost completely from men's shoes.
And soon, heels become
a signifier of femininity.
By the 19th century, we see a reinforcement of gender norms in notions such as
men are big, naturally big and better. Females are small, diminutive, and dainty.
And that applied to women's heels, too.
Having the smallest foot possible becomes a goal in women's fashion.
Fast forward to the 1920s.
When the flapper becomes the media icon of new womanhood.
During this time, women cut their hair, lose their corsets, wear makeup, shorten their hemlines,
and for the first time really reveal their legs. They're getting rid of so many previous signifiers of femininity, but they maintain the high heel.
Which brings us to today.
Women are told, or have been told for a few decades now, that high heels are women's power tools, that they are the way that you express that you've arrived, that you have power. And so if that were true, you would think that men would be very eager to wear the high heel as well.
One community that's always been eager to adopt the heel is the queer community.
Heels are so essential to my identity. I don't know about you, but I grew up sneaking into the garage to wear my mom's shoes when she was away.
Meet Chabot Han and Henry Bay.
We are the co-founders of Zero.
Wow, that was perfect. That was incredible.
Isn't that just how it's supposed to be done?
Zero is one of the only shoe companies designing heels exclusively for men. And Henry and Chabot love wearing heels.
If my heels are not clacking, then what am I doing?
But when they went to go buy heels, they realized the options for men were limited to shoes for drag queens or shoes associated with some sort of kink or fetish.
Which I also have.
Right, which is awesome.
Not wearing to the office.
Which is why they started their own company.
We have kitten heels, we have boots, a pump, wedges, thigh highs, we have a strappy sandal.
In other words, the same variety of heel available to women. But trying to normalize high heels for men also comes with its own set of risks.
I get called fat so often. Men on the street yelling at me, telling me things like, you need to be a man. Teenage boys laughing. People were kind of just doing that whole like, thing at me. Like I'm supposed to fight back in my heels and my nails, like, wow.
Misogyny is so alive and well, even in 2018. When a man does something that invalidates his masculinity, or rather embraces his femininity, that's really scary to our culture. There can be danger, and it can even be fatal.
Every day when I get dressed, I have to decide if today I have the strength to withstand all the stares and looks that people will give us. But at the same time, I know that I feel the most correct and powerful when I'm wearing heels. I feel like I'm really celebrating femininity.
And making it look so good.
It's a type of footwear that should and can be open to anybody. Those things are actually being challenged today, and of course they should be, because this is just a cultural construct. Whatever meanings are embedded in these objects can change, and they do change.
And while these social constructs can change, it's unlikely that straight, cisgender men will be wearing stilettos to the office anytime soon.
In my lifetime, I will be shocked if straight cisgender men start wearing high-heeled shoes.
Perhaps the goal isn't to have more men wearing high heels, but rather to make the world a safe place for the men who do.
It's going to take a long time for people to actually catch up with this, but it's happening. And the more that people dress the way that they want to dress, and the more that people show up and live authentically, the easier it is for us to get to a place where everyone can do that, and we're no longer policing people based on their gender.
Milo.
See, the day 2 straight men could do that, I think would be great.
Shush, straight men can do that.